evening. Welcome to the Lewisville City Council workshop session. We do have a quorum. It is 6:15 p.m. Don't trust that thing on the wall. It will lie to you.
Every time.
First up on tonight's agenda is the discussion of the consent and regular agenda items. So we'll go ahead and sorry about that. All right, first up I've got invocation, Mayor Pro Tem Ronnie Cade. I've got the pledges. We have a proclamation. We have a presentation for our engineering team. We have another Planning Achievement Award. Awesome. E1, public hearing. Automobile repair. Any comments on that one? E2, public hearing. SUP for a contractor's yard.
So I guess this will be compliant now, since the previous one was not compliant that they found?
Correct. They developed without any permits, but we've established a time frame for them to quickly get this under construction and into compliance.
Okay.
So but because they're under the SUP and there's timelines on that, that gets them into compliance?
Yes.
Okay. Item 3, Lake Point Phase 3.
I had a question about that. I know I got the voicemail, but I'm not sure I understood that. So I had a doctor that I'm positive was in that building at one point, but it wasn't zoned medical already?
Medical and dental offices are allowed by right in general business and local commercial.
But lab isn't, that why?
Correct.
Okay. And I mean, I'll ask the same question out there for everybody to hear. I always think about this sort of stuff, we're going to go sideways. So could they open up a ketamine clinic or some sort of rehab, still medical? Where can this go south on us? And is there anything we can do about it?
If they meet all our definition, depending on what they're doing, they'd have to meet our definitions in the Unified Development Code, meet all of our zoning and development requirements and building code, in addition to all the requirements of the state of Texas for whatever type of facility is proposed.
So there might be different requirements for like a drug rehab or something like that to go in this space just because it's on medical?
That type of facility would fall into this. They typically go into structures that were originally developed for a residential care type thing, like an assisted living or a nursing home.
Okay.
It could happen, but it would be very costly to rehab that building. This building was set up just for medical offices, laboratories.
Anything else on item 3? All right, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. Item 4, approval of minutes. Item 5, $200,000 professional services agreement with Half Associates for Timber Creek. Item H6, resolution casting 61 votes for candidates to serve on the DCAD Board of Directors. So I'll add a couple of points on this one. There's a couple of strategies we can do here. We can just half and half between two. One thing to understand though is that the only way you can recall a board member is if you had voted for them. So there is if you vote one vote, if in the future you need to have a recall election for that particular candidate, you can do it because you've seated a single vote. Now, I don't know if that matters in this one. Your two biggest vote blocks have already gone, Denton ISD and Lewisville ISD, and they've gone to, so I don't know if we're going to see anything really swing the vote any other way, but I would like to recommend Ampama and
I would too.
The other
Mike
thing
Henderson.
is they're filling two positions.
Right, they're only filling the two positions because now they've got this circulating thing going on now where it's not the whole board all the time. They've got the 3 publicly elected ones, and then there's the 5, and I think it's 3-year terms, so I think it rotates.
Yeah, they had a small stint where we just did Ann Palmacall before and Alex Buck, but the time frame, they were just trying to get on the right
Yeah, the right side.
cycle after the new legislative change. I think we had some updated, where's Dave?
Yeah,
We
Dave-
got updated.
Dave sent some updated
Okay,
numbers.
perfect, I just wanna make sure you guys got that.
So, any questions on that one? Item 7, appointment to place number 2 on the Arts Advisory Board.
I'm glad we found somebody.
We okay with Ms. Gomez?
Yeah.
Reports, I don't have any, staff reports lined up for this evening. So, all right. And then closed session, do we have any closed session tonight? All right, fair enough. With that, we've got a couple of quick items. No, we don't. We don't have any more. We don't have any more.
two workshops.
It's at there we go, Cali Drive funding, there we go. I can't read. So, Mr. Cunkey?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having me this evening, give me some time to. We're going to talk specifically about, you might recall last year when we came to you and said we thought the Cattle Drive Parade had run its course, and you agreed with our direction on that. It left $15,000 in funding that at that time we recommended reallocating to Western Days, and you did, but you want us to come back to you for this fiscal year. So we'll talk about that on the last slide, but I've got about 8 or 10 slides I want to do first, just to give you some background, how we got where we are. Am I controlling this? Are you controlling this? I can push a button, and if I can't, well, you're here. Okay, so just a reminder that our events and concerts have 2 purposes: recreational activities for our residents and a visitor draw to bring people in. A lot of them are held in Old Town. In fact, all of them I want to talk about tonight are. Not all of our events historically have been. We've had some at Bill Weaver Arena, we've had some at Lake Park, we've had some at the former Vista Ridge Mall. But for tonight, we're talking specifically about some Old Town events. And that's to build the entertainment district, a direction we've had from council now for quite some time. And then just a note, over the past 12 months, we've had 57,000 attendees at our special events, with 1 event less to go this year. That is not a record. 2019 is still our record, but we've had 4 or is it 5 events that have set records this year. So festival attendance is doing really well in Lewisville.
And can I pause on one thing? And so I know James was talking about that, but just remember our Parks Department also has events that they hold as well. So like that kind of layers on top of each other.
Yes, thank you very
But
much.
James is talking about his special events.
Yeah, we're looking at the kind of the big citywide festivals and concerts that are designed as a tourism draw. PARD does some absolutely wonderful events that are primarily community draw and have great crowds for that. So we cooperate, we're hand in hand, but it's 2 different objectives. This is just to give you the calendar. January, February, the weather is so iffy, plus we're kind of recovering. And then we have events every month except August. We have given up on August. August wins. And then November, just because Stroll is right at the very beginning of December. So we leave November open. So you'll see, we spread the events out. We have 1 or 2 every month. And there are some that we don't actually run, like Freedom Festival in July. That's in Castle Hills. That's the Castle Hills Master Association. We lend support to them with police, fire, streets, by contract, but that is not our event. List of city events, just telling you how old they are, when they were held last year, when they'll be held this year, this coming year, and what the turnout was. One note for you, we just got a call this afternoon. The senior PRCA, or the senior rodeo, is not going to come back next year. So we have a gap in our schedule. Potentially a September gap, potentially move it to the spring. It also means that the money we had budgeted for that event does not have an event to go to. We just heard about it within the past couple of hours, so we have no recommendations on that at all. I wanted to make you aware. These are the attendance numbers. You can see the 57,000, not a record. We are going to pass last year unless 0 people show up for Stroll. That would be a really bad thing. 2019, just rotated off, 2019 we were at 68, 69,000. But we had a couple of extra events that year. And here's your events budget. It's about $1.5 million. Mostly hotel funds, so when we do events and we're paying a person to come play guitar for 35, 40 minutes, or we're paying someone to do decorations or whatever, that is coming from the hotel fund. It is a tourism function as defined by state law. cannot be used for regular city, we can't fill potholes with it, we can't hire cops with it. We have a little bit of general fund, mostly in Sounds Red, White, and Lewisville, because the state has said fireworks are not a tourism event. Everybody does them, nobody goes out of town to see them. Even Kaboom down in Addison, they use general fund and sponsor money. So that's most of ours. And the rest of them, where you see a little bit here and there, is because there are some services that city departments used to provide, and it's just our events have gotten so big and they've gotten so busy. They asked us if we could assume those, so we have taken those on, and we budget a little bit of money to cover that.
I do want to brag on the team. I will tell you, other city managers from all over the state have called to talk to Darren and James about how to run a lot of our larger scale events. Most cities have 1 to 2 large events a year. Most cities are not carrying what this team does, so I'm just, I know we're used to it, but I just want you to realize that this is an exceptional team for being.
I generally forward those calls to Darren.
And Darren,
Oh, talk to Darren. So these are just we really don't use the word challenges much anymore. We try to use the word opportunities. So these are some special events opportunities. Budget, being through the hotel fund, that's very volatile. We saw in 2020 what happens when the hotels are empty, our fund is empty, we don't do events. So it is a limited in state use, but also very volatile. Staffing can be an issue. It's not just Darren and his 2 folks. Although we have 3 event people, it affects police, fire, streets, parks, gets heavily affected. And for the large events, you bring in finance, planning, every department's involved in Western Days. They're all out there doing something. But even just our general concert for 800 people, you got at least 4 departments plus our events team that are on the ground the entire time, plus hours before and after. So that has an effect sometimes on their overtime budget. The venues, every venue has limits. Old Town, parking and access can be a limit. You only have so many people in there, but you can't build parking for Easter Sunday, as they would say. And we have to coexist with the businesses. Lake Park, 1 way in, 1 way out. Hopefully that'll be addressed with the redevelopment out there. And on prime weekends, it's full. If we try to move the July 4th fireworks there, on July 4th, they're packed by 10 a.m., 11 a.m. You can't just sweep everybody out and bring new people. I guess you could. I would rather not be the one doing that. Darren can.
Yeah.
I'll send Darren. Bill Weaver Arena, limited parking. Lake Avalon Park, beautiful facility, lays out really well for small events. Parking is a big issue because there's mostly street parking and not a lot of it. Change in attendee trends. We've noticed that younger attendees they're not going out as much as they used to, and when they go, they're not drinking as much. And that sounds like, oh, well, good for them. And yes, good for them, but at Western Days, that's a big revenue source. And so we're seeing a change in people going to events, how often they go. The State Fair this year had a big drop. Partly price, partly just it's a big drop. We had a small drop. They had a big one. Weather obviously is an issue. Cold we can handle, but drizzle will wipe us out every time. And then we have a very competitive market. North Texas has lots of festivals. Grapevine has a couple of big ones. Farmers Branch, Carrollton. During September, October, the big festivals have just kind of chosen their weekend, so we're not competing a whole lot. But now you're starting to see competition. Denton Arts and Jazz is the same weekend as Wildflower, I think. Wow.
Like Oktoberfest.
That could get ugly. So here's the opportunities we want to point out today. We do go through a process. We talk about adding or retiring an event. We have retired some when they run their course and we feel like the market's no longer there and our resource can be better used elsewhere. We add an event when there's an opportunity in the market that somebody else is not already hitting and we have the resources to address it well. So you can see kind of the rules we follow here. We try not to just follow the crowd. For example, Wildflowers are a great event in Richardson. If we tried to duplicate Wildflower, we would have a hard time drawing an audience. We would never try and duplicate Plano Balloon Fest. Plano Balloon Fest is awesome. I love going. Almost lost my kid there once. But other than that, I love Plano Balloon Fest. We would never do it here. We actually used to have a balloon fest up in Highland Village, and it just struggled because of the competition. So we look for gaps where there's not an event. We try to fill that where we can, when we have budget money, when we have staffing. These guys back here, parks over there. Some recent changes, bringing in the Lucha Libre Wrestling. Wow. And they called us. We didn't call. They called us. We're like, yeah, we'll try it. Now we're throwing them everywhere we can. Those wrestlers are cool. Rearranging stages on Western days, I'm going to leave that bullet because every year we move something. Western days changes every year because businesses move around and open and close. Colorpalooza, we added the cultural pods and decor. Sounds of Lewisville moving to May and June was a hit. We thought it might be empty in May. It was great in May. Red, White, and Lewisville adding the drone show. Great attendance in 2025. Juneteenth started as a Sounds of Lewisville offshoot and is now a standalone event for Juneteenth. Little Monsters on Main, brand new event. We saw a niche there. And the manager's office was extremely supportive on this. And wow, we had 4,400 the first year and 5,700 the second year. We might have to add a few blocks to Old Town, so y'all can work on that, and we'll go buy more candy. And then PBR Lewisville ended, so we went and found a replacement. It's ended. We'll have to be flexible. So here's Cattle Drive Parade savings. It's $15,000. It's not a lot. You saw our total event budget is $1.5 million. So this is a very small amount of that, but it's important. We want to be good stewards. We threw a few bullets in there of ways it can be used. For example, we could apply it to the Western days like we did this year, because we know there's going to be cost increases every year. Power will go up, staffing goes up, all those things. Adding a parade to St. Patty's Texas style, we think we could do within that 15. Increase city support of the privately run Veterans Day event at City Hall. Although if it's police and fire support, that's not hotel funding. So we would look for other things to do.
And can I add on to that? So I thought it was Veterans Day, but when I think it was, it's Memorial Day, it's not
Memorial
Veterans Day.
Okay.
So there
As a
is, right
veteran,
now,
I'd
there is
rather do
no.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
As a veteran, I prefer that. So for whatever that's worth. Red, White, and Lewisville, if we wanted to go away from the drones a little bit and more toward debris-less fireworks, this could help toward that, but it wouldn't cover it. The one reason we mention that is the safety zone for the drones is bigger than the fireworks, and we keep putting businesses in our safety zone. That people like to sit out there and watch the drones, we don't want the drones to land on them. You could try and draw another small-scale private event, like we did with Tribute Jam, and just pay that $15 as a host fee. We could try to bring in a 2-day PRCA rodeo, which we thought would be an add-on to the bull riding. If bull riding's gone, maybe that could work. 2 or probably a 3-day event. And then we talked about, after the people loved projection art that we had a couple weeks ago, you could add a 3-day, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, around holiday stroll, because it's early enough in the day, and do a non-custom show for $15. You do the whole month for $40, but just for that weekend, $15 non-custom. Our recommendation is stick with Western days, because we know those costs are going to go up. But as you can see, there's a lot of options, and there's other options we could come up with if we needed to fill another slide. And that is my last slide. The last one says questions, but I'm just going to leave it here.
Thanks. Council, thoughts?
I'm good with the staff recommendations.
You good with staff recommendations?
I really like the idea of applying it to the sounds of Red, White, and Lewisville to help start that transition to the different kind of fireworks. It sounds to me like what we're talking about is that as Old Town continues to expand, we get new businesses in, we're gonna have, it sounds like we may not be able to do the drones anymore. And so that's certainly gonna be a cost increase on that. And we also know we are not gonna be able to just do the fireworks that we've traditionally done either. So I think we're gonna have to throw money at that soon anyway. So, and I don't remember what the budget for that one was, but what was it?
Sounds is $35,000. It's mostly general fund. This being hot fund, we just move things around, or we would use it for the musical acts.
So, with an extra 15,000 there, that's going from 35 to 50, and that's a big impact there. On Western days, going from 893 to 912 is.
This year we had, I think, 10 minutes of drones and 3 of fireworks.
Correct.
Okay. This 15 would probably allow it to go to maybe 6 and 6. And that's because we're looking at debris-less fireworks. And debris-less fireworks, especially next year with the semi-quincentennial, fireworks are expensive. So it would be a step, but it's a partial, it's not complete.
Did you have something to add? I saw a reaction over there.
15,000 might get us an extra 2 minutes. I mean, those were cost of fireworks are.
I said 3, he says 2.
Expensive, man.
He's probably right, but really, man, give me a
I mean, they're great, but my gosh, they're expensive.
So I do have a thought here, and I understand the intent of the 15,000. Thank you for that. That helps kind of anchor what we're trying to do with that. We have, by my estimation, that if anybody has a solid number, I'd love to hear it, but about 5,000 veterans in our city, and I just base that off of 41,000 in Denton County, which is a number that's known, and then we're about 10% or so of Denton County, I suppose, 15%. There have been over 300,000 troops deployed on foreign soil since 9/11. There were about 5,000 plus killed in action, and then there's another 1,000 or so plus suicide, accidents, training exercises, all in foreign theater. I'm not asking for a big production. I think what we did for 9/11 was nice. It was dignified. It was understated. I don't think we need a full 15,000, but I would like to consider. There's a lot of cities that do big deals. The Colony does something big, Plano does something big, Flower Mound does something big, Denton does something big. I would like to see a little bit of money go to something Memorial Day or Veteran Day. I would defer to the veterans and the memorial to pick one of those, but I do think we should be doing something with that.
Can I add something to that? So Steve Southwell, one of our residents and volunteers, does do the Memorial Day event. I did reach out to him, just knowing that you were going to ask those questions. He seemed more than willing. I didn't want to step on his toes if he didn't want the city to assist. He was like, yes, he would love it. His concern was just, does it get so big that we close streets and it becomes something bigger? But he, having something small, he was all about it. I will say from, just providing pipes and drums and probably color guard, that type of support I don't think we need any money for that. We can just send we would pay for it out of salaries, but we would just have to schedule it ahead of time, and we can do that. The other thing, just so you have awareness, is that we did just finish a private event that was associated with veterans. Do you want to talk about that, just so they have awareness of it?
Yeah, we did the Maverick Harley Davidson every year with the One Tribe Foundation produces the 22 Kill Ride. And that gets its name from a 2012 Veterans Affairs Department report that said that every day in America, 22 veterans die by suicide. And so this foundation has gotten together to try to curb that, and they're doing great work. They've got it down to 17.5, which, yay us, but that's still a lot of work to be done. So the 22 Kill Ride passed through Lewisville. It's the 10-year anniversary of it for this past Saturday. And basically all it was 500 bikers that rode through Old Town Lewisville. We held some traffic and did some streets and gave them a route. The freeway shutdown didn't do us any favors. We were yelling and screaming at TxDOT, saying some bad words to them, but they opened it up just in time and were able to get it through and get them through both efficiently and safely. And it was done. They'd like to do that in conjunction with Veterans Day to promote that initiative with the 22 Kill and the One Tribe Foundation.
And I think they're doing that next year as well, right?
Yeah, it'll be an annual event. Next year they'll be the 11th, and they just start and end at Maverick, and they just do a big loop. And this year they wanted to come through Old Town. Maverick's been a great partner of ours, and they thought it would be real neat to run. They've not run it through a business district ever. And so they picked ours for the first one, which I thought was kind of cool.
Awesome.
So I just wanted you to have all the lay of the land before discussion.
And I had two thoughts on this, just to throw stuff at the wall if we're going to have a broad-ranging conversation. I love the light show in front of City Hall that we did, the projector system. I don't know what that runs, but turning City Hall into a gingerbread house for holiday stroll would be a neat upgrade. Just as a thought. Another thought, one of the challenges that I see in all of this is that Lewisville the city runs the vast majority of our big events. And we have other cities that are like, no. I mean, Denton is almost exclusively done by nonprofits, other community organizations. There is some city support, but the city of Denton, by and large, everything I've talked to, every staffer I've talked to up there, they don't do any of it. They do a few small things, but it's not run by city staff. And, you know, I'm like, man, I would love to get more of that kind of community engagement. To that effect, when I look at like the Veterans Day stuff, you know, you mentioned Flower Mound. That's city supported, but it's actually run by residents. So, and I've yet to have. I mean, my kids went to the VFW for the Cub Scouts for years. I've yet to have veteran come up to me and say, "Man, we're really missing on this one." To Mr. Kunke's point, he'd rather Memorial Day. So that's. I mean, if I had
Either one of those.
Yeah, I mean,
some sort of.
Yeah, and if we wanted to have a pipe and drum and something, and Southfield was great with it, I think we'd be fine. I don't think we're shortchanging our veterans, I guess is my point. But I also think that sometimes, you know, veterans just would like to celebrate that day with their family, and not do something performative. So that's what I worry about when any of these kinds of things are put together. But I have no problem if we wanted to do that, and it could be absorbed into the budget. You know, I'm staring at a 2.5% property tax rate in 2 years. I don't know how we're going to fund any of this stuff as we continue to see what the state's doing. So, for me, the only other thing I would be interested in maybe doing is, could we take that 15,000 and create some sort of seed program for non-for-profits or community groups, and say, hey, we'll seed $500 in marketing or $1,000 in something for you come bring us an event and figure out how to do it. I don't know if that's even enough, but that would be my only other thought on how to spend this money if we wanted to spend it outside of the current event structure.
I like that seed idea, and that one of the things about the Memorial Day thing, Memorial Day services, it isn't publicized very well, it doesn't get publicized, and it's always a very low-key event. I would like to see that in, something along what you're talking about, for something like that. For at least part of the money.
I like that. So if we took your idea of blending that with a private organization somehow and seed that with some funding, I'm all for that. Sometimes I say things and it may sound like I'm casting aspersions. I'm not. There is no aspersion being cast. It's just I think we have a gap, and I'd like to help fill the gap is all.
That's fair.
I think the 15,000 is going to get lost on Western Days. 15,000 is probably not going to get us a better performer. I think it's going to have to be more than.
You get your penny in the flamethrowers.
well, that's good too. I like that.
You
but
can't hire yourself.
It's
not going to get us Miranda. It's not going to get us Miranda Lambert. So.
Yes, a few zeros short of that.
Yeah. So I think the holiday stroll I like the idea of what we just did on the front of the building, like the mayor said. I think that's gonna.
What was our budget on that? Do we know?
We can do a 3-day non-custom for 10 to 15. We paid closer to 20 because we did a custom show.
Sure.
But a 3-day non-custom show, same length you saw, between 10 and 15.
I think you're going to get more out of the money doing that, plus give a little boost to the holiday stroll. Not that it needs it, but I think it could do a little boost anyway. It's always good to keep changing things a little bit.
And I did like the idea about the seeding. I think that's pretty good.
And that might give us a veterans group to pop up. I mean, it may work that way, but I'd love to see them engaged with production and wanting it, in my opinion.
I want to make sure I'm not anchoring on veterans, but either Veterans Memorial, either one of those work. So something to help honor the sacrifices they made. So
I like the memorial because it's already something
we have something
that
already.
is being done.
Let's expand on it. Yeah.
And it could be expanded on because I think for those who participated, it is very.
We got 3 ideas.
This isn't helpful.
Roddy, any input?
No, I've got input, no. I'm good.
She's laughing at me because I'm trying to make sure I'm following.
She's trying to,
Right.
we're trying to get a consensus and it's
So
like.
I'm hearing some consensus around either boosting Memorial Day.
Right, so I can do that.
But
We
not-
can
you
do
can do that
that
with staff.
now with
15,000.
staff, yes. Yes.
Well,
Well, I don't even think, I think we can take the 15,000, put it towards seed money, and then we just have pipe and drums the first year with Steve Southwell's, we publicize it. Hopefully it doesn't get so big that we have to close streets. I don't think we're gonna have that situation. And then we'll work with Steve on kind of how that programming works, and he's open to that.
Which then would say, okay, we've got 15K, and I've got fireworks, I've got seed money, I've got light show. Okay.
We need to pick one.
Yeah, well, and
Yes,
if,
please.
and if you're gonna do the light show, we gotta pick it today, right? Because we're not gonna be able to get it in for holiday.
Oh, it won't be this year.
Or it would be next year.
It'd be for next year.
Be for next year. Okay, never mind. Disregard.
I
got a little
can
excited.
call them and ask, but I don't.
My guess would be no
For
at this point.
The light show,
So.
the fireworks.
So thoughts?
I don't have a strong opinion about any of the thoughts. They're all great ideas. I've got no strong opinions other than whatever you said. I feel like that's been answered.
I think it would be neat to do the seed money idea and see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Didn't we try that a little bit before with the seed
I
money?
don't recall
What we've
that.
done before is we found people will come to us with I think the Korean group at the mall came and wanted to do a festival, and so we help fund that. We do it like ad hoc, like one at a time.
But that was an economic development deal with.
It was economic development, because there was some other stuff with Zion going on. We've done with Cloud9 Charities with their event, like they come in, Brewfest, and so we partnered, but those were not like a call for who in the community would like just making it available. There's a pot of money, and I mean, maybe we'd have to figure out what the process would look like, but we might have a call for projects and see who comes forward. I have to study that.
Yeah, you'd have to study
This is very off the top of my head.
No, you'd have to study it. You'd have to say, I mean, what would be a reasonable number? How would you control it? I mean, all of that, so.
So you'll get back to this tomorrow afternoon on that?
I got you.
It sounds like work for the arts board.
For the arts board, okay.
I don't know. That's just my thought.
I don't think the arts board does.
We don't have an events board.
We don't, I think.
Not had crossover except for the projection art.
Yeah, I think it would be you guys.
Okay.
Probably.
That's fine.
Or we could bring it back and with whatever the program is we develop, you guys could delegate it to someone else, depending on. Okay. All right, so seed money it is. We'll try to activate our private community.
And a commitment to bolster Memorial Day.
Yes. Perfect.
Very good. Thank you for that. Next up, we have Boundary Adjustment Research Project Update. Mr. Richard Lukey.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Just want to take this opportunity to give you a really quick overview of this project that planning staff's been working on for quite some time, and go over some of the results and some of the next steps that we have before us. So to start the project, planning staff worked with ITS, and we took our GIS shapefiles from our mapping system and our neighboring cities' mapping system, and just try to find where there's any discrepancies, any overlaps or gaps in our boundaries. And we did find 33 discrepancies on that first analysis. So then the really hard part started. We used our interns to go and assemble all of the ordinances that dealt with either, annexations or boundary agreements. So that was quite a painstaking process. And all of those agreements have, surveys with them, meets and bounds surveys. And not only did we get ours, we also obtained the ordinances from those neighboring communities. And really the good news is we found a very clean bill of health. There were all of those, we determined that the discrepancies that we did find, of those 33, all go back to either changes in projections in our mapping systems, or various other nuances in those systems that created those discrepancies. All of the discrepancies that we did find had ordinances that had exact meets and bounds description that met perfectly. So that was kind of the good news. But we did find some issues related in several areas, particularly with Carrollton. And we've had some initial discussions with Carrollton about 2 or 3 different areas where there are some problems of where the existing boundary lines lie. And I've got some more detailed slides that kind of show those. So we worked with McAdams to do some survey work in those areas to aid us in kind of understanding what's going on. So the first one's at the intersection of King Arthur Boulevard and Old Denton Road, FM 2281. As you can see in the survey, or even here, the blue line shows that the intersection itself is mostly in Carrollton. I believe one of the signal poles is in Lewisville. So that does present a problem for emergency responders if there's an accident, at that intersection. If the vehicles end up on one side or the other, it could be a problem. So the entire intersection either needs to be in either Lewisville or within Carrollton. And I did consult with our city engineer. We believe it's Carrollton signal. We looked at the street views, and the signage and the logos on the street signs at the intersection are Carrollton. So this may be a Carrollton one. But again, these are just kind of preliminary. This is the preliminary research, and we have found that this is a problem area.
I have a quick question for you about that.
Sure.
So that's Polzer Road over there, right? The bottom part, that blue line?
Right in
That's
here.
Polzer. Now, is that entirely in Carrollton? Because I heard at one juncture that was one way is Lewisville, the other way is Carrollton. Is that
What I understand, it's entirely within Carrollton.
I'll take your word for it versus a rumor side. Thank you.
We always try to strive to have the entirety of a road in one jurisdiction or the other, just to make life easier on our first responders. So again, this would be a situation where if it is truly operated by Carrollton, it would make sense, to have it kind of cut off, and then maybe the rest of King Arthur be in Lewisville, but the actual intersection with Old Denton be in Carrollton. It needs to be cleaned up, because right now, these lines are following the original boundary set with Wright Development when Castle Hills was created in 1996. So that was before King Arthur was even there. So a lot of these things were built after those boundaries were established. So again, this is an example where we'll need some type of cleanup. And we do have the ability to do boundary adjustments. The state does allow cities to do adjustments if they are less than 1,000 feet in length. Here's another one with Carrollton. This is south of the interchange with Sam Rayburn Tollway. Matter of fact, this is the Elm Fork of the Trinity River right there. And originally the city limit line, it crosses at the river, and then it used to go up what was the right-of-way line of 35E. But at some point in the past, TxDOT came in and they put in that collector distributor facility that kind of ties George Bush and Sam Rayburn, and they acquired like another 100 feet or so of right-of-way on the eastern side and built a new frontage road. And so that frontage road now lies in Carrollton. As you can see right here, there's kind of a gap there, so we need to basically pop that boundary line over to the new right-of-way line of I-35E. So again, that's another example. But we did have a discussion or a phone call with Carrollton staff today, and they've also identified Windhaven and Old Denton Road as another potential area where we might need to do some cleanup. So again, that would be a third one we would probably look at with Carrollton. Now, the rest of these examples are what we call donut holes. They're just little voids where, in this case, there was an old Crider Road. It was probably a prescriptive right-of-way, and I believe when one side of it or the other developed, they didn't include it in their plat. And so it left kind of and actually this blue line was following the original 1996 boundary of Castle Hills, so it left a void. That road was pretty much abandoned and grown over and never used. So we need to kind of close that gap in there and really close it right here. That's when we'll have to probably work with to determine who the underlying property owner is. It's either probably this owner on this side, that owner on that side, or it might even be split down the middle. That will require a little bit more research, but we would work with those owners that we do identify and work with them to petition for annexation. Same thing on Josie Lane, just south of Windhaven. There's just a gap in the descriptions, kind of a donut hole, a leave out. Completely surrounded by the city limits. That was just a leave out in the descriptions from the original Castle Hills. Don't really know how this happened, but the way to fix it would be to determine the landowners. We believe it's Bright on this side, it's LISD on the eastern side, and we would just work with them to follow paperwork and a petition for annexation. So that would take care of that one. Now this last area is a little bit different from the other two circumstances. This is a situation where the actual city limits followed the original Castle Hills boundary, but it left kind of a triangle that's been identified as the city of Hebron. And to add to that, this is also the new right-of-way of 544. 544 used to kind of go along the railroad, and then it curved further up when there was a much smaller railroad overpass. And of course, there was some land swapping with the property owners in that area, and TxDOT built a much bigger facility with more of a sweeping curve. But it left a little piece, as you can see, it's 340 feet long, that's in Hebron. And of course, on this right-hand side, it's in Carrollton, and on the western left-hand side, it's in Lewisville. So again, this is another prime example where we might need some cleanup that may take additional research with Hebron. Speaking of Hebron, that's the next slide. We are aware that there are a number of residential properties in eastern Lewisville that have a 10-foot strip in their backyards. That is is part of the town of Hebron. And that was an agreement that goes back ever since probably back to the 90s when Castle Hill was established. So you can see the original town site of Hebron was way down here, but they had these strips that tied some other pieces that wanted to remain part of Hebron, including the Tooth Acres Pet Cemetery area, and there's also the Clem's residence on 544. So all of those had to be kind of tied together with continuous annexation area.
Richard, that clock is wrong.
You have
It is wrong.
a couple
So
more
I'm
minutes.
gonna have to
Okay.
I'm gonna have to pause you there unless you can finish in like 30 seconds.
I can finish in 30 seconds. So with council's direction, all that we really need to do is coordinate with Carrollton for some boundary adjustments in those 2 or 3 areas. Also reach out to those property owners and try to close those donut holes. We don't really think we really need to do much with Hebron because those properties that have those strips are not acknowledged by the appraisal district. The entire properties is in Lewisville's taxing jurisdiction. So with that, with y'all's permission, we can move forward with that and bring those to you at a later date.
I like it, I want it, let's have it, I yield.
Okay, thank you.
Claire, are we sure that Josie Lane is part of our cleanup? We're not gonna take on.
All right, good evening. Welcome to the regular session of the Lewisville City Council. We do have a quorum. It is 7 p.m. First up on tonight's agenda, we have the invocation with Mayor Pro Tem Ronnie Cade.
Please bow your heads. Gracious God, we gather tonight with gratitude for the opportunity to serve our community. Grant us wisdom in our discussions, fairness in our decisions, and unity in our purpose. Bless this council, our city, our staff, and all who call it home. May our work reflect integrity, compassion, and a commitment to the common good. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledges to our flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. All right. All right. We
We got somebody out here for Hunger and Homelessness Week. They're putting you up here by yourself?
I know, we have to split time.
We'll make it happen. All right, so wanted to make a proclamation here regarding Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. And so whereas Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week raises awareness about hunger and homelessness in our community, and whereas over 114,000 Denton County residents face food insecurity, 8.4% of Lewisville residents lived in poverty as of July 2023, and the city needs additional affordable housing units for households earning 50% of the area median income. And whereas local organizations such as the Boys and Girls Club, Christian Community Action, Denton County Friends of the Family, Heart of the City, Journey to Dream, Metro Relief, SPAN, the Salvation Army, and United Way of Denton County work to reduce food insecurity and homelessness, and whereas the city of Lewisville continues to support affordable housing and social service efforts to reduce hunger and homelessness, now, therefore, I, T.J. Gilmore, Mayor of the City of Lewisville, and on behalf of the Lewisville City Council, do hereby proclaim the week of November 16th through the 22nd of 2025 as Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week in Lewisville, Texas, and encourage residents to volunteer and support local groups and nonprofits working to ensure access to necessities like food and housing. And let's thank all of our team here that does all the work with our social agencies, all one of them tonight.
We just always appreciate, I'm talking too loud. Appreciate the council, our advisory committee, and all of the residents that help provide feedback on where social services should go towards. And we appreciate all of our agencies providing those social services every day.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of presentations, so I'll get out of the way. First up, we have our city engineer, Mr. David Selman.
Good evening. Tonight, I wanted to present an award that we've received for our Windhaven at KCS Railroad project. Engineering News Record is a weekly magazine and a media brand that serves the construction industry with news, analysis, data, and project coverage. It's widely regarded as the authoritative source for professionals for design, construction, and engineering, as well as their annual top lists that rank construction companies and construction projects regionally, nationally, and globally. The Windhaven Railroad Underpass project was submitted to the Engineering News Record earlier this year by Sun Construction for consideration for their 2025 project awards. The project was selected for an award of merit by the Engineering News Record Southwest region in the highway and bridge category, beating dozens of other projects that were submitted. The project was awarded this honor because of the innovative design and construction sequence. The bridge was constructed subsurface while the railroad was diverted to a shoe fly. Once the new bridge structure was constructed, the railroad was diverted back onto the new bridge, all while the bridge was being unearthed and the drainage and utilities and roadway were being completed underneath. This method provided minimal disruption to the railroad service and shortened the overall construction timeline. In the photo there, I went to Houston a few weeks ago with our contractor, Sun Construction, and our design engineer, Bridge Farmer and Associates, to accept the award on behalf of the city. And so we've received this nice plaque that we can display.
Next up, we have a presentation from Mr. Richard Ludke, our Director of Planning.
Thank you, Mayor Gilmore. It is my pleasure to share with you tonight another award that we have received. This award was received back on October 24th at the State Planning Conference, which was held in College Station by the Texas chapter of the American Planning Association. And Lewisville was honored with 2 awards, the first of which, as you can see there in the photo, was a Planning Achievement Award, gold level, which means we were the top one. There's multiple silvers, but only one gold in every category. And that was for public outreach for the Lewisville Backyard Cottage Design Competition. So this was a joint effort between the planning department and the neighborhood services. And very proud of our accomplishment there. At the conference, we had 4 planning staff members, 1 staff member from neighborhood services, and 3 council members. So we had a very good showing. Our second award that we were recognized for was Planning Excellence designation, which is a designation that we have received annually for over 20 years, ever since that program was awarded. And that honor is based upon our planning, our certifications, and our training that takes place with staff and our elected appointed officials. So I would like to thank the council and all of our boards and commissions for your steadfast support of our continuing planning efforts, which have undoubtedly transformed Lewisville for the good. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is public hearing, E1. It's public hearing, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit for automobile repair minor and a car wash facility on approximately 1.22 acres, legally described as Lot 3, Block A, corners at Valley Parkway Addition, located at 1111 West Round Grove Road, FM 3040, zoned local commercial district, providing for a savings clause, repealer, severability, penalty, and effective date as requested by Tarek Bazi Quick Car on behalf of Ryan Gudema, my apologies on that one, Royce LLC, the property owner, case number 25-07-11-SUP. The applicant proposes to operate a quick car automobile repair, minor, and car wash facility on this site, which operates as a quick car under a different owner for several years after receiving special use permit approval in 2019. After the original quick car ceased operation, the original SUP was terminated and a new SUP was approved for a new quick quack car wash on the site in January 2025. This SUP automatically terminated after 90 days since Quick Quack did not move forward with the project and the use of the property as a car wash did not begin operations. The current applicant is seeking a new SUP allowing both minor automotive repair and a car wash similar to the original SUP approved in 2019. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 5-0 on October 21st, 2025, and it is recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. We do have Mr. Richard Lutke, our Planning Director, available for questions. And the public hearing on this is now open. Mr. Tarek Bazi is available for questions. He is in support of this.
So Richard, TJ said this really fast, so I just want to reiterate again. So this was once the same business, right? That was approved, this SUP was approved in 2019, and it operated in this location for several years.
Yes.
Okay, and then it terminated, then a new SUP was approved for a car wash only, but that place did not move forward.
Correct.
So now we're going back to what it was before.
Full circle.
Okay. So, and no changes were in complete compliance with everything that was previously approved and with new city standards and everything?
They are having to fill in with some trees that were lost in the interim.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Council, if there are no questions, I don't have any other public comment on this. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote to close the public hearing. Motion passes unanimously. Next up, I'll entertain a motion on approval of the ordinance.
Move to approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item E2, public hearing, consideration of an ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by granting a special use permit for a contractor's yard on approximately 4.967 acres out of the J.W. Haven Survey, abstract number 541, located on the north side of East Main Street, approximately 200 feet west of Valley Ridge Boulevard, and zoned heavy industrial district. providing for a savings clause, repeal or severability, penalty, and an effective date as requested by Sean Faulkner, Foresight Group LLC, the applicant on behalf of Cobley Investment Property LLC, the property owner. Case number 25-03-4-SUP. The site was illegally being used for material storage without the approval of a special use permit or engineering site plan. Code enforcement staff issued the property owner a citation for unsightly matter and illegal use of outside storage in January 2025 and gave a 30-day notice to submit an application for an SUP or cease the use after the property owner attended a development review committee meeting on February 12, 2025. An application for an SUP for a contractor's yard was submitted on March 21st, 2025. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 5-0 on October 21st, 2025. It's recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above. Mr. Richard Lutke, our Planning Director, is available for questions, and the public hearing on this is now open.
Richard, I had a question on this one too, because so does this, what we're approving tonight, include the 2 buildings, or are the buildings already there?
No, it'll be 2 new buildings that will be built.
Okay, but they are necessary for the operation of the service yard?
Yes, this SUP will authorize that use. Now, they will have to go through the development process, engineering site plan process and building permit process to complete all of the improvements on the site.
Okay, and on this graphic that's in our, in the backup material, this little hatch pattern, that is the limits of the service yard itself, is it not?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Council Sean Faulkner from Foresight Group is also here, available for questions, and is, of course, in favor. No further questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes unanimously. The public hearing is now closed. Council, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance.
Move to approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Public hearing number 3, consideration and ordinance of the Lewisville City Council amending the zoning ordinance by rezoning approximately 4.7134 acres of land legally described as Lake Point Phase 3, Lot 3B and 3C, Block D, located at 751 Hebron Parkway, from general business to district zoning to medical district zoning, correcting the official zoning map, preserving all other portions of the zoning ordinance, determining that the zoning amendment herein made promotes the health, safety, and general welfare of the city, providing for a savings clause, repeal or severability, penalty, and an effective date as requested by Neil Fielder, the property owner, case number 25-09-10-Z. The subject property contains an existing office building. The applicant is proposing to rezone this lot from general business to medical district to allow the leasing of the suites within the building to medical offices and laboratory uses. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended unanimous approval 5-0 on October 21st, 2025. It is recommended that the City Council approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption above, and Mr. Richard Lutke, our Planning Director, is available for questions. The public hearing for this is now open, and I do have Mr. Neil Fielder, owner of Lake Point Phase 3, available for questions, but he's in favor.
Richard, so I think I read somewhere in here that said that the general business category, while medical uses can be in the GB zoning district, the laboratory can't, but if we change this to medical district, there are quite a few of the general business that wouldn't be able to, so this is a more restrictive zoning category than what it currently is.
Correct.
So if we're giving them the laboratory, they're giving up a lot of other uses that would be allowed by right now.
That is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clarification, just to make sure I understood that right.
Real quick, Richard, we talked about this a minute ago, but there's nothing that, about a year ago, and this is why I'm thinking about this, about a year ago, we had some neighbors come in, and they were upset because a rehab facility was going in across the street from where they were living. There's nothing that prevents a rehab facility, ketamine clinic, or something like that from going in this area, other than it's just not a good fit. We don't think anybody would actually do that in this particular spot. Is that accurate?
Right. It would be allowed by right as a long-term care facility, which is only allowed in the medical district. However, this building has been set up for, with offices and laboratories. Highly unlikely that it would be converted to a residential care type setting. It would be quite costly. Those typically go into facilities that were built and designed for nursing homes or assisted living. But it could happen.
But they would probably
it would be allowed by the zoning board.
They probably have to tear it down, start over again, because that is an office space right now.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes 6-0. Council, I'll entertain a motion on the ordinance.
Motion to approve the ordinance that's set forth in the caption.
Okay. William B.
All right, I've got a computer motion from Councilmember Meredith and a computer second from Councilmember Green.
That's what I've got. Move to approve the ordinance as set forth in the caption.
We're good?
Second.
Okay, we're good? All right. With that, Council, if you'd please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item F, Visitors Forum. Speakers must address their comments to the mayor rather than to individual council members or staff. Speakers should speak clearly and state their name and address prior to beginning their remarks. Speakers will be allowed 5 minutes for testimony. Speakers making personal, impertinent, profane, or slanderous remarks may be removed from the meeting. Unauthorized remarks from the audience, stamping of feet, whistles, yells, clapping, and similar demonstrations will not be permitted. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the City Council is restricted from discussing or taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Action can only be taken at a future meeting. I do not have any requests for comment. We'll go ahead and move on to item G, consent agenda. All the following items on the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests. For a member of the public to request removal of an item, a speaker card or e-comment must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. I have no requests for comment. So council, I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Council, if you would please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item H, regular hearing. Consideration of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lewisville, Texas, casting the city's 61 votes for candidates to serve on the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors, providing for submittal of same to the Chief Appraiser, and providing an effective date. The City of Lewisville has been asked to cast its votes for the Denton Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. Lewisville has been allocated 61 votes, which may be cast entirely for one candidate or divided among multiple candidates at the council's discretion. Because several independent school districts control much larger vote totals, it is difficult to determine how Lewisville's votes could best be used. Casting all votes as a block is generally considered more impactful than dividing them among candidates, as splitting votes can dilute their overall effect. All votes must be submitted by December 15th, 2025, and it's recommended that the City Council consider the resolution as set forth. Do I have a motion?
Sorry. Motion to approve the resolution as cast votes for Ann Palmer and for Mike Hennifer.
Do you have a quantity you want to?
6, 3 and 3. I think that's what it is.
So we have 61 votes total.
Yeah.
So you want to split that down the middle?
We want to split
30 and 31?
Yes.
Would you prefer 31 to go to Ann or 31 to go to Mike?
31 go to Ann
Okay.
and 30 to.
Awesome. Awesome. We got it. We'll get through this together. All right, and I have a second. Council, if you would please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you all for taking the time on that one. All right, item 7, consideration of an appointment to place number 2 on the Arts Advisory Board. One seat on the Arts Advisory Board is reserved by ordinance for a person employed in a professional or managerial position by a large employer, a business or branch of a business located in the Lewisville city limits that has a minimum of 100 employees. That position is currently vacant. An application has been received from Christy Gomez, who is the Senior Director of Regulatory Safety and Research and Development Compliance at Mary Kay Incorporated. It's recommended that the City Council consider the appointment to place number 2 on the Arts Advisory Board as set forth in the caption. Council, any recommendations?
A motion?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to appoint Christy Gomez to place number 2 on the Arts Advisory Board.
All right, I've got a motion.
Second.
Do I have a second? Very well. I have a motion and a second. Council, if you please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item I, reports. Reports about items of community interest regarding no action will be taken. I do not have any reports from city staff, but I'd be more than happy to start with Councilmember Kelly over on the far side.
Awesome. So, real quick, so I'm on social media. You guys probably know this, right? And I saw some posts out there, but there's nothing to do in our town. And every time I read that, I get a little bit confused. All you have to do is look at our city calendar. I'm just going to read through some things real quick, if I can read my handwriting here. So we have extreme hip hop, we have yoga, we have GED classes, we have needlepoint, we have dominoes, we have ESL class, we have aerobics, we have strength and conditioning class, we have acoustic jam, we have holiday at the Arboretum, we have jewelry making, we have math tutoring, we have Pilates, we have bingo, we have Tai Chi, we have this rotating centennial exhibit, and we have whatever hand and foot canasta is, we have that. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like it's awesome. So there's stuff to do in the city. Just take a minute and look. It's on our calendar. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Green?
I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that. I think I'm just going to leave it at that.
All I heard was foot and mouth canasta. It's like I thought that was a virus. I'm not sure. We all good? Councilmember Tipton?
I really don't have anything, just say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Because we will not be meeting prior to.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Kay? Meredith?
Yes, I've got a couple events that Patrick Kelly did not mention. DIY Ugly Sweater Party for all ages, Tuesday, November 18th, 5:30 to 7, Glenmore Savage Community Room. At the Children's Wing, no registration is required. And Tween Scene for children aged 9 to 12, Wednesday, November 19th, 4:30 to 5:30. At the Bennett Program Room, a ticket is required. And that's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Troyer?
No report. Nothing to report.
City Manager? I would like to take a brief moment. We have a row of folks that are sitting back there, and usually when you're in city council and you see people that you don't know, you're like, okay, what are they up to? You start trying to see what's going on. And of course, I know you got to be troublemakers because you're sitting next to a couple of them right there. Look at them looking around. I see you, Ainsley. But I want to recognize that we have NCTC students that are studying local government. Ideally, local government is not nearly what we claim to see on social media and in the news as far as government goes. Things typically run pretty smoothly at this level, but if you have any questions, we'd love to see you and talk with you. We are very pleased to have you here in our sleepy little burb. So with that, I do want to go ahead and let everybody know that we do not have any further action to take on tonight's agenda, so we stand adjourned. 7:25.